Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston with Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm coming to you today with a little book review on Mother Angelica's book on suffering and burnout. So I had gotten this book when I was in the research phase for my book on servant leadership. Now, I knew a lot of things about Mother Angelica. I've read her biographies by Raymond Arroyo. I just wanted to comment that from a different angle, not outright talking about her, but servant leadership and her actions. And I can't see her actions right now, but I can read her books and watch her shows. And this book was actually one of those ones, when you order a book you really want and then it starts suggesting other titles you may like. So this was one of these suggestions, and it turned out to be such a blessing. Many of you will know I had shingles. Let's see if I can do this. I had shingles not that long ago. It's just this tiny bit of scarring left. I did not know because I'm still in my 40s, so I did not get the shingles vaccine yet. And if you're wondering, I'm going to stop right there. I am not an anti-vaxxer, but I'm not like, hey, that's a new vaccine, give me 50 person either. I really try and discern vaccines, and the newest shingles vaccine is an ethical vaccine. It does not use aborted cells of any sort, and that is such a blessing. And I don't know that there's much preservatives. It'd be a one and done shot. So that is a shot I would actually consider getting. But I didn't even have the opportunity because I was a little bit younger than you normally are when you get shingles. So this came as a surprise. I was misdiagnosed at first. And of course I was given the exact medicine you should not give somebody with shingles. So it kind of like supercharged it. And I was, it's a painful thing. I did not know how painful it is. And I fully expected to have that pain with me for a number of months, and that's a whole nother story where the pain went. But while I was in the pain, I had seen this book laying by the side of the bed on, I got rid of my nightstand a while ago and replaced it with a giant bookshelf. So this was sort of sitting next to the bed. I saw it. So I picked it up, and I'll admit this is one that started me, wholeheartedly. If you follow me on Twitter, and not many people do, and that's fine. I mainly troll Twitter looking for prayer requests. And so when I started reading this book is also when I doubled down on that. I wasn't just trolling Twitter. I was actively asking people. I'm up all night suffering. Let me pray for you. And so this is one of the things I added to that. I was going to read a section of the book and then do a prayer. And I'll tell you, it's so funny because the first section is the healing power of suffering. Oh, friends, you would not even believe the beauty here. So I'm going to read to you a little bit from this editor's note because you may be confused a little bit by this book. It is published by EWTN themselves. I just want to read a little bit of the editor's note. This volume brings together for the first time His silent presence, Jesus Needs Me, Dawn on the Mountain, the gift of dryness and prayer, His pain, like mine, spiritual hangovers, and the healing power of suffering. So they were actually 6 mini books written by Mother Angelica back in the 1970s, and they put them together. So they must have been really tiny because this isn't a huge book. So what is presented as a chapter was originally a book. The text is very easy to read. It's very clearly marked. You can jump around because it is a series of books. So you can go ahead and use the table of contents, and you can see there's actually several main categories. So suffering has 2 of the mini books, burnout has 2, consolation has 2, and then there's a tiny bit about Mother Angelica herself at the back. And I do mean a tiny bit. It's that. So it is just a tiny bit to let you know about her. So this was published after her death because that's listed. These are beautiful. They're interwoven with scripture. I think at one point in the editor's note it says these were actually thoughts that came to Mother during adoration. So they're things that she was meditating on, chewing on during her adoration. And it's again then lets you know, friends, that adoration is a good and beautiful thing. She wrote the words on a pad of paper while in adoration. So that's how she wrote these little books. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I want to let you know, because this is going to be a fairly quick book review. Oh, maybe I should read you a passage. Okay, I'll let you know that exciting news a second later. I read, I'll try and do one from the one I got, in the healing power of suffering. This is on page 32, friends. This may be a wicked age, but your lives should redeem it. Ephesians 5:16. The word redeem means to rescue, set free, ransom, and to pay the penalty incurred by another. We often lose sight of the definition to set free. And we miss the power of our example as Christians to do exactly that, set our neighbor free. We must look at this aspect of redemptive suffering if we are to understand its role in our daily lives. St. Paul told the Corinthians that, indeed, as the sufferings of Christ overflow to us, so through Christ does our consolation overflow. When we are made to suffer, it is for our consolation and salvation. 2 Corinthians 1, 5, and 6. Paul did not want the sufferings encountered by being a Christian to discourage or dishearten anyone. He realized that when Christians saw the blessings and grace that poured upon him after his many trials, they would gain courage to suffer in their turn. The example of fortitude and fidelity exhibited by this man of God released them from the fetters of fear and cowardice. How empowering is this woman? This woman is empowering. This is a servant leader, friends. She encourages me in my journey. She's been past she passed in 2016. She is still encouraging me to this day. I am encouraging you to get out and get this book. Keep it by your bedside. I feel like if you're suffering and can't sleep in the middle of the night, you could open to any page in this and be encouraged. Oh my goodness, friends. A flower reminds us of his beauty, the smile of a child his sweetness, and both are reflections of his spiritual silent presence. When we cease to seek God in everything, our soul enters a desert, and his presence seems to disappear. His presence is written upon everything, and as we read all the words he addresses to us in his creation, our reason begins to understand his existence and awesome presence. That's on page 194, friends. It brings tears to my eyes. Again, these are books that Mother Angelica wrote during adoration. And I know right now in my own archdiocese in Baltimore, we are having a Rosary Congress. So some churches who have been very exemplary in keeping their churchgoers safe are having a Rosary Congress. So I know my little church is having, it's starting out with a mass and a procession, a Eucharistic procession. There's going to be, I think, 2 talks during the week, and there's times that you can sign up to adore the Lord and pray the rosary in his presence. Now, in my little church, we actually have a side chapel that's set aside for adoration, and they have actually removed chairs from it so that there are only 10 chairs left in this chapel. They are already distantly spaced. You don't have to do any math or geometry when you come in the room. They have hand sanitizer available for everyone, as well as cleansing wipes already individually put in Ziploc bags for your safety, so you can wipe down the pew when you go in or when you leave. There are bathrooms available, and again, all that safety protocol is there for you. So people should feel totally safe. And so go to different parish websites, go to your archdiocese, ask them if they're having a Rosary Congress. Get these prayers going, because not only do we have this terrible time of the COVID crisis, right, and the loneliness and despair that are happening to our young adults as well as our seniors. We have our youngsters are struggling with how to school and cope during this year. And then we have added to it, we have the election coming, and now there is a Supreme Court vacancy. This is a great time of trial, but not just in our country. There's lots of countries having lots of crises. We need to pray the rosary, and praying the rosary in adoration is such a blessing. And if you have a little book like this, maybe you can sit out in your car, read a few pages of this before you go in. It's gonna add some oomph to your reflection, I believe. God bless you, friends. Take care. Get out and pray the rosary and read more Mother Angelica.